guys, today I'm going to talk about the opposition case to the motion that a just government should provide a universal basic income for its citizens. Now, from the start, this debate is about justice and what a just government should do and what happens in the context of a world of increasing disruption, right? And a world of big gaps between the rich and the poor. I discuss a bit more of this contextualization in the Gov video, so watch that if you need to get more of it. But it's important to mention that for OP, you need to recognize this context. You can't just ignore it, because if you do, you sound really bad. You sound like you don't really care, right? Because it's hard for you to say, if people struggle, it's just their fault. It's just for them to struggle. Because a lot of the people who are struggling, it's not because of something which they did or something which they could have done. It's just they were in the bad place at the bad time. The birth lottery meant they grew up in a town that was based around car manufacturing, and then people don't manufacture cars anymore. They use robots to manufacture cars now, and then now they're stuck, and then they're poor, and they can't do anything. So what is better? To give these people, whenever that happens, some kind of special help, or to give everybody a universal basic income, okay? So 3 arguments on opposition. I think you talk about the philosophy of how states should react, and talk about why that is more just in terms of philosophy, and then you talk about the stakeholders, and why that's why it will be fairer for the stakeholders. And then you talk about maybe not a counter plan, but some alternatives. So basically defend the status quo as a better system to distribute this help and to help people. Okay? So firstly, on the philosophy of what is a just state or just government, I think the opposition line is the government, like this is a problem, but the government should fix it, not avoid it by giving people this, basic stipend. So help people retrain and develop new skills, prevent or slow down the disruption of industry, integrate robotics into human productivity cycles and change, so people work alongside robots rather than having them being replaced, All these other different kinds of things, but you say the idea is that it's not enough to just give people this payment, because this payment isn't going to be enough. And what you do by giving the payment is you avoid the issue of helping people cope with this change. And people want to cope with the change, right? People want to feel like I can still be productive. Just because you give me this payment now doesn't mean I'm going to be happy, because the payment really isn't enough. I still need to get work. Plus, I feel like I'm some kind of lesser person. My father used to have this steady job, and other people have all these jobs, and I am now displaced, right? So governments shouldn't, what is fair and what is just is for the governments to help those people feel plugged into society, even if it's paying them for volunteering or paying them for some other thing that functions in society. It depends whether you want to defend volunteering as being paid or not paid. That will be one of the clashes in the debate, but you want to think about that the basic principle is you want people to function in society, to have some kind of salaried work, and the role of government is to help people do that. There will be a debate and a clash here about the nature of work. The other side may say that a lot of valuable work may not necessarily be paid for, and people will still feel valuable because they will get this income and they can work with their neighborhood, work with their environment. But you need to argue that yeah, people can do that, and volunteering, people can still choose to volunteer, but we still need to ensure that people can get salaried work. If we need to pay people for volunteering, or we need to maybe recognize that people are doing these valuable things in society, right? And that gives them the incentive to keep doing things, but it also recognizes, gives them a sense of recognition that their work is valuable and rewarded. Because often when things aren't rewarded, there is no value attached to them, right? So that's the first thing about what creates what a fair society is, and why in a fair society you need to help people maintain gainful employment and to have some kind of sense of productivity and functioning in society. The second thing is talking about the stakeholders. There will be 2 kinds of stakeholders here. One, people who don't need this money who get it. Second, people who need the money and get it. So the people who don't need the money, you say, dude, that's unfair, it's a waste of money, I've got a Ferrari, why do you give me this extra money, right? Government may say, look, it's like public healthcare or public education, but you say, with those things, I can choose I probably won't send my kids to public schools if I'm super rich. But here, you're going to give me this money anyway, and I'm probably avoiding tax anyway. So why give me more rewards on top of that? That's really, really unjust. Secondly, people who have special needs, this money is not going to be enough. But also, even if it is, that recognition could be really useful, right? If I lost my job because of something really bad that happened to me, I maybe want to get the recognition that something, I worked very hard and I lost my job and I want you to give me some compensation. And that's valuable. That's not necessarily stigmatizing. That could be rewarding, to get some acknowledgement that something really bad happened to me and I'm going to get some payment because of that bad thing, rather than just payment and I'm part of everybody else. Okay? The last thing is to talk about systems. So the Gov may argue that systems are really, really ineffective and you spend a lot of money managing the system. And that's true, but you can try to flip this argument on its head and say all the advances from productivity and stuff that we're making in automation and the service industry and manufacturing and so on, bring that into the system, right? Use data, use more clever tools to determine when people get payment, or not get payment, how they get compensation, and all of these different things. So we can make it efficient. The option isn't just to kind of like forget about it. But more important than that, it's valuable. It's a good system, right? It's a diverse system. It recognizes people's individual needs. It's more customized to people's needs, rather than treating everybody the same and giving them all one UBI check, right? That's kind of unfair because it doesn't recognize that people have special needs. Okay? So that's the opposition case to universal basic income. The context is really, really important. I strongly recommend doing some research around UBI and preparing for different ways in which UBI may be set up, because there's a variety of different approaches on how government may choose to run this debate. But either way, you'll have fun, because you always have fun, right? Good luck. Happy debating.